Joseph Stalin, Benito Mussolini, Pol Pot. These are some of history's most evil dictators, and I would like to add a new face to the list. Introducing His Excellency Kevin Baugh, Dictator of Molossia. What's that? You've never heard of Molossia? Well, it's a small country in the middle of Nevada. Yes, you heard me right. There is another country within the United States, and they have everything a functioning country needs, like a post office, a navy, its own currency, even its own measuring system. Okay, I'm only fucking with you. Molossia isn't a real country, it's actually Baugh's house, and he's just a normal guy playing a character. He's not evil at all, he's pretty chill. But wait, don't click off because Molossia is a pretty cool place and I want to talk about it. So, without further ado, this is the Republic of Molossia. While researching Molossia, I came to learn that it's part of a niche community called micronations. A micronation, as defined by journalist Jessica Muddett, is a self-proclaimed sovereign state that lacks a legal basis for its existence. As a consequence, micronations are not recognized by established nation-states. So by this definition, this means that you can declare almost anything as a micronation. Your room? A micronation. Your house? A micronation. You can even claim things are unlivable like a small rock or a section of Antarctica. But what surprises me about micronations is just how dedicated these leaders are into making their creation seem like a functioning country. For example, some micronations have their own currency, some have their own passports, their own flags, and even offer their own citizenship. Now you might be wondering, why do people start micronations? Well, that's a tough question because there are different reasons. Some do it as a hobby, some do it to express themselves, others do it for political reasons, but a lot of the times it's just a hobby, so don't expect any of these micronations to become a global superpower. Anyways, back to Molossia. To learn more about this place, we first have to understand its history. All of its history can be found on the official Molossia website. The history of Molossia all started with a movie called The Mouse That Roared. The movie takes place in a fictional European-inspired country called the Duchy of Grand Fenwick. When the country falls in economic struggles, the Prime Minister declares war on the United States. His plan is simple. Once the army reaches the US, they surrender. The reasoning behind this is that in war, the victor has to give foreign aid to the loser. This movie is what inspired a young Kevin Baugh and his friend James Spielman to create their own fictional country called the Grand Republic of Voldstein on May 26, 1977. Spielman declared himself king while Baugh was the Prime Minister. However, Spielman would later move to a different school, leaving Baugh in charge of the country. For the next 20 years, Voldstein would remain fictional, but all this would change in 1998 when Baugh purchased land in Nevada and turned his kingdom communist. 3 months later, the regime joined a collection of other micronations called the United Provinces of Utopia. But this utopia would later collapse the following year. Baugh would then go to work and make his country an actual livable place. Then, on September 3, 1999, the People's Democratic Republic of Molossia was dissolved and it now became the Republic of Molossia. Over the years, Molossia has acquired more land around the world. There's the Farfalla province in Northern California, the Desert Homestead near Joshua Tree, and even a small piece of Tuscany, Italy, and the Indian Ocean. This micronation has even participated in a few wars, the first of which was called the Dead Dog War. According to the official website, the war took place when covert forces from the United States entered Molossia territory and buried a dead dog. These covert forces refused to move their dog, so the Molossian army sent out their greatest weapon, a hyperactive 13-year-old boy who yapped and yapped until these forces finally caved in and moved the dog. The second war was called the Molossia-Mustachistan War. So in March 2006, Baugh co-created a micronation with a friend who called himself Sultan Ali Oscan Free. This new micronation was called Mustachistan, and when it came time to claim his land, Ali claimed that Molossia belonged to him. The two leaders tried to talk it out, but they couldn't reach an agreement, and all this drama culminated in the River Park incident. So in this incident, Ali placed a sign banning Molossians from entering this park Baugh would go to. The sign was removed, which angered Ali, so he declared war. Why did Ali want Molossia? Well, I believe it comes back to why he created this micronation in the first place, to create a bit of competition for Molossia. In total, 3 battles took place. One was a naval battle, it was actually a kayak race, and the other 2 took place on land. Shots were fired, some soldiers became POWs, and one even died. Molossia ended up winning these 3 battles, and on June 8, 2006, the 2 micronations signed a peace treaty marking the end of the war. Aside from returning the POWs and leaving Molossia alone, the treaty also stated that Mustachistan had to pay reparations in the form of cookie dough, 1 tube a month for 6 months. The third and final war is a war that's still going on. Since 1983, Molossia has been at war with East Germany. That's right, East Germany still exists. Your history classes have lied to you. Well, I take that back. East Germany sort of exists. You see, there is a small island off the coast of Cuba called Ernst Thälmann Island, and in 1972, Fidel Castro donated the island to East Germany as a gift. When Germany was reunified, the island wasn't mentioned in the reunification treaty, so that means East Germany still exists. So why did Ba declare war? Well, for that, we're going to have to go back to 1983. During that time, Ba was serving in the US Army and he was stationed in West Germany. The constant military drills prevented him from sleeping, so he wrote a document declaring war on East Germany. He forgot about this war until he rediscovered the document in 2008. Okay, if you're a fan of Oni plays, then you know what I'm going to talk about. So on April 9, 2010, the Kickassia invasion occurred. This invasion is not only historical, but it's also the plot to a movie. Let me sidetrack for a bit. So there's this guy on YouTube called the Nostalgia Critic, real name Doug Walker. He reviews movies and he remembers it so you don't have to. He works for a company called Channel Awesome, and there were other reviewers who came from his company whom you might know, like Lindsay Ellis, Linkara, and Angry Joe. Channel Awesome has been around since 2008, and for the company's second year anniversary, they released the movie Kickassia. Okay, so in the movie, or invasion, whatever you want to call it, Doug and the other Channel Awesome critics took control of Molossia and re-established it as Kickassia. Doug crowned himself as a dictator, but he didn't do anything. Eventually, the other critics grew frustrated with Doug, so they overthrew him. However, they couldn't agree on who should take over Kickassia, so they gave it back to Ba. They have a monument and a holiday commemorating the invasion, believe it or not. Life in Molossia is rather interesting. Aside from Ba's house, you have buildings and spaces that show his commitment to the bit. You have war monuments, 3 national parks, a post office, a railroad, and a bank that issues Molossia's own currency, the Valora. The Valora's value is linked to Pillsbury cookie dough. You've already seen their navy, they're just boats that Ba owns, and his missions are his trips to local lakes. Their space program is just Ba and his family launching model rockets. That's pretty wholesome. If any of this interests you, then come over to Molossia. However, you can't just show up whenever you want. The only way to visit this place is by taking a tour. Tour dates are listed on the website's front page. Passports and visas are not required. Micronations are a large rabbit hole. If you're interested in knowing more, then I recommend you surf the MicroWiki or go on the subreddit. Or, if you have the money, go to MicroCon, which is a convention by micronations for micronations. These cons happen every 2 years. The most recent one was in June 2025 in Montreal, Canada. Why did I spend my time talking about a country that doesn't exist? Well, when I first started researching, I was excited because I thought Molossia was a legitimate country. But when I found out this wasn't true, I decided to keep on going. I'm glad I didn't cancel this project because I discovered a world where people have vast imaginations and are dedicated. I respect these people and they have inspired me to keep on creating. Also, Channel Awesome is a part of Molossian history, so of course I had to talk about this place. We love Oni Plays in this house.